All right, y'all. So I want to talk about this Namor clip that they just dropped. We get to see a little bit more of what's going on in the movie of Black Panther. It was so much fun. And I also want to talk about why Namor is in Wakanda in the first place. Like, why he's trying to invade and what's going on with that. So let's get to it. So first of all, this, if you haven't seen the clip, you need to go watch it, go look it up. I think they first debuted it on like Jimmy Fallon or something. I don't know. Either way, the full clip is online and you can check it out. But it was so much fun. So we get to see Namor confronting the Queen and also Shuri, and it was just top tier. Okay, it was top tier. Namor came out. He was just like, wow. Okay, first of all, let's talk about how he says his name, because it's like Namor or something like that. And I probably should call him that if he's calling himself that, but it's gonna take me some time. Child, I'm so used to calling him Namor. I'm just I don't know. But I really like how he says it. So hopefully I would get in the habit of saying it, just not in this video, child. Like I've been calling him Namor for so long that it's just second nature at this point. But I really do like how he says it. Obviously the Wakandans ain't never met him before. So that's why, you know, the Queen was like, okay, who the hell are you? Why are you here? What's going on? And so there's just a lot of things that could potentially be going on here, right? Because this is what Namor says. The place is amazing. This place is amazing. Talking about Wakanda. The air is pristine and the water. You know, my mother told me stories about a place like this. A protected land with people that never have to leave, that never have to change who they were. What reason do you have to reveal your secret to the world? So by the way that Namor is speaking, and I don't know if this has already been spoken about by the actors or anything like that, so child, just forgive me, but we're just gonna talk about it. Why not? So from the way that he's speaking and the way he's speaking about the water and how everything's pristine and all that, it just makes me think that something is going wrong with in Namor's kingdom. His people's under threat, his kingdom's under threat for some reason, and he's coming here for help or something, or just pissed that the Wakanda's been ignoring their asses, right? Because remember, Okoye had said something about an underwater earthquake or something, and they wasn't paying nobody no mind. So maybe that coupled with something else, and the something else I think is the pollution. It's pollution. Maybe something like they're fucking up his waters on top of maybe an earthquake happening or something happening, and his people is fucked up. Right? It will make a lot of sense because Namor's character has tackled like the idea of pollution and all this in the comics, right? So, for example, Dying in Paradise was a story featured in Marvel Comics Presents number 33, which was a comic released in 1989. And you can see here, it was just highlighting the pollution problem. Of course, Namor, you know, was flying around and he dipped his fucking feet in these oily ass, nasty ass waters. He was pissed, okay? This article is coming from Bleeding Cool, I think. But you can see how the muck is over the oceans. And I think in the comic, he also had saved a bird or something. So it was just like highlighting that. And also in another comic, in Submariner, number 28 by Roy Thomas, he was standing up for some environmental protesters, as you can see here. So it would just make a lot of sense that to tie that what he already is passionate about or concerned about in the comics to what's going on with Wakanda and all that, or what's going on in this sequel. Also in the comics, he and you could, I just whipped this article up from Screen Rant really quick, but also in the comics, he did go to war with Wakanda, but it was for a completely different reason, or at least, I mean, just because so many things have changed from based off of the comics versus the MCU, like it just wouldn't make any sense to use the exact same reason that they used in the comics, like the reason that he invaded. Like it wouldn't make sense in the context of the MCU, because in the comics he was like, it was a fight over control over the Phoenix Force. So right here, I just want to read this. Black Panther and Namor first met one another not as adult superheroes, but earlier in Rise of the Black Panther number 2, where the two cooperate on tracking down criminals who fled Atlantis. So even just the introduction, even just meeting this character is going to be completely different, because obviously he would be interacting with Shuri and not like the version of Black Panther that, you know, is in these comics. So both monarchs recognize how similar their respective nations are and part on amicable terms. But what's crucial here is that the young T'Challa recognizes that Namor could be a potential threat in the future. Black Panther is known for scouting out future threats to Wakanda and creating contingency plans to defeat them, so it's natural he would be skeptical of the Atlantean prince given his penchant for violence. Unfortunately for him, his fears would later come true when Atlantis invades Wakanda in the pages of Avengers versus X-Men. And they even changed the name, it's not Atlantis, in the actual MCU movie. So Avengers versus X-Men was a 12-issue crossover event that pit the two superhero teams against one another for control over the mythical Phoenix Force. While the Avengers viewed the Phoenix as a dangerous entity to be contained, the X-Men believed the Phoenix is necessary to revive their species after mutants were driven to near extinction. Ultimately, the Phoenix Force ends up possessing 5 different X-Men, including Namor, and the X-Men are able to overpower Earth's mightiest heroes. I love this image. I love it. It's just this is crazy. I can't wait to see whatever version of this we're going to get in the movies, right? With the Avengers defeated, they retreat to T'Challa's homeland of Wakanda, and Namor decides that since the African nation is harboring enemies of mutant kind, it was necessary for Atlantis to invade. This invasion devastates Wakanda and also marks the beginning of T'Challa's rivalry with Namor, but unlike most superhero rivalries, this one carries with it the weight of 2 highly advanced nations. The 2 kings aren't just fighting over their personal differences anymore, their subjects are dying too. After Avengers vs. X-Men ends, Black Panther and Namor are forced to reconcile with each other due to an even bigger conflict looming in the distance, the incursions that threaten the entire Marvel universe or multiverse. The incursions are a cosmic event. We know what incursions are, so they just reassembled the Illuminati to find a solution. During this time, Namor and T'Challa work together in spite of their past, but one party disagrees: T'Challa's sister Shuri. Shuri takes advantage of Namor's divided attention and launches a secret invasion of Atlantis, massacring its people the same way Namor murdered the Wakandans. But while Shuri only intends to show Wakanda's strength, Namor sees it as another declaration of war, so he retaliates using his strongest weapon available, Thanos. So it goes on to talk about how he tricked Thanos into, convinced Thanos to invade Wakanda instead of Atlantis, and that was just terrible. So obviously Namor's reasons for invading Wakanda can't be the same as the comics. Like, it just wouldn't make any sense. And then, I mean, you're talking about in the comics, Shuri went over there and massacred their people. I just, obviously, it's not giving that. I just don't think they're gonna I don't think they might go make Shuri do that kind of shit. I don't know. I don't know. And also, you're talking about Thanos. You're talking about the Phoenix Force. It's just, it's not possible at this point, and obviously Thanos is nowhere near this story. So I'm really wondering what they're gonna use, and maybe, like I said, they have already been talking about it and I just did not see it, or I had not paid attention. But from what I can tell, based off of the history of the character and from this last clip that we just got, I really think it has something to do with his people being in distress for some reason, or his kingdom being fucked up either by pollution. He talked about the water's pristine over there, in Wakanda. So it's either pollution or the earthquake or both. And Namor feels like he has to, or he feels pushed to make certain decisions. Maybe. What do y'all think? Because also, I think they're going to end up working together in some way with Namor. Especially with what Tenoch Huerta said about Namor not being a villain, right? So this is coming from Screen Rant. During a recent interview with Empire Magazine, Tenoch Huerta, who plays Namor in the Black Panther sequel, clarified that his character is an anti-hero, not a villain. And he said, Latin Americans are always the bad guys in Hollywood movies, and now we are the heroes, or an anti-hero in this instance. And that would make a whole lot of sense. Even on the comics, Black Panther did kill Namor, or threw him in some parallel universe or some shit, and he ended Namor's ass. But if Tenoch Huerta is over here talking about he's an anti-hero, and Marvel's just introducing this character, and they have already been talking about the Illuminati, it just wouldn't make sense. I would hope that they would keep his ass alive. It just, especially because to me, saying that he's an anti-hero means that maybe after the scuffle or after the battle that they have, there is going to be another threat that's gonna be a danger to both countries, or maybe the entire multiverse. Like we don't know what's going on. And that they would just be forced or feel compelled to work together by the time the end of the movie comes, on something to protect us from something, right? So I don't know. It's what do you think? What do you think? Have you heard news on this already? Have they already addressed this shit? Because to me, it seems like what you should be doing, letting the audience piece together things as they watch the clips and trailers. But I think that's what they're doing. From my understanding, they haven't really spoken about like his true purpose here. We kind of just meant to draw conclusions by what we're seeing, because I remember also weren't his people climbing up all them ships and stuff? Were there oil rigs there too? You know, so I don't know. They could be pissed about the pollution, all their fucking machines in their oceans. They could be, and that's why they're climbing up this. We don't know what's going on. But let me know what your ideas are in the comments. Thank you so much for checking out the video, and I'll catch y'all later.